Hi there, it's Chainlink, and we're going to look at Wyckoff as usual, plus the resistance and support levels, and one new thing about Wyckoff in the lower level timeline, the daily chart. So let's get started. In this weekly view, right now we're 2 days into this week's candle, and we're seeing a bit of red retreating about 1/3 of the green candle last week. So in terms of Wyckoff, we know there was a second test back in mid-June, and then now it's coming down, and we know there can be multiple tests. So in an accumulation cycle, there can be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tests. So the key thing is the support level. The immediate support level is this yellow line over here at around $12.44. The next one is $10.20. Those two are the support lines if it ever comes down to test these levels again, much like what happened back in July, August, all the way till late October last year. And then resistance line, this time around, over the past 3 weeks, it was only 4 weeks ago that this resistance line, $14.90 roughly, has been tested. The past 2 weeks, including this week 3 weeks, we are not yet there. We are actually quite a bit from there, almost $1.20 below that line. And if the price does go up and breaks the yellow, similar to 3 weeks ago, the next will be the top edge of the white box. The white box is the long-term playground zone, where over the years, most of the time, Link has been traded within that particular area. So that's the current big picture. The accumulation, we expect it to continue if we look at the Wyckoff pattern. And if our tags are marked right, then hopefully we'll see more stages of the accumulation happening. And the good news so far is the level is more or less similar to 2024, not as low as 2022-23. However, it doesn't mean the price won't go down to 22-23 levels. So be very careful if you're going to get in now, especially if you're planning to go all in. There's still risk. You have to calculate all the risk, understand the developments of the particular altcoin before you make any decision. So I've mentioned many times the tests can go much lower than the selling climax. So you see the selling climax was here. Let me change back to the chart view. The selling climax was here on the left hand side, right? And then these tests and also the spring gone much lower than the selling climax. So don't expect these two here are the absolute lowest point this cycle, because there's a possibility that it goes lower. So enough for big picture. Daily. Previously we've drawn this blue box, basically a downward trend, and well, it looks like it has gone outside of the box for a bit, but it did happen before as well, in mid-June, and now over the past 2 days you see today's and yesterday's red candles. Basically it has re-entered the trend. So to give us a better sense, let's enlarge the box a little. So we encapsulate this one. This one is a little bit close, like it's inside the box now instead of touching the box, but it's fine. We know it's never absolute. We are trying to get the fluctuation, so we know the trend can get, or the fluctuations can get bigger and bigger, because in like uncertain or crazy times, this can happen. So then here, that's the usual thing that we see in other altcoins as well, you probably already noticed immediately if you have been following my videos. You have smart eyes spotting this triangle. So here we're getting closer to the point. It's only a matter of within 8 to 10 days we're getting to this corner. This corner, there are two options for the price. One, break outside of this downward trend and like obtain solid support from this support line at around $12.40, similar to here. However, last time during April, the price did go through this line or went below this line and found support somewhere lower at around $10.90. Actually, the lowest point was almost getting to $10. So pretty much the low at this section during 2024. So this time we had one during like June 21st to June 22nd. So be careful that the yellow doesn't or fail to defend and it comes to test this level again at around $10.80. So two options covered: one, breaking out, finding support on the yellow; second, coming down following the downward trend, and these rising red bars, these volume increasing, doesn't feel good. Well, you can feel good if you are going to sell it or put in sell. I mean, making put orders. Let's put it this way. Too many puts. So here, after these usual things, we have the interesting new thing, right? I mentioned in the beginning, if I bring in Wyckoff into the daily chart. However, one thing I have to emphasize is, whatever we tag in the daily, it is restrained by what's happening in the weekly. So a higher level time frame, it's going to have bigger influence to the lower level time frame. So even if we draw a Wyckoff pattern here, even if we have a buying climax, don't expect you would have a high chance of an upthrust or upthrust of the distribution if we are in a stage like a post distribution stage or an early accumulation stage. So be very careful about like putting these into a lower level timeline or whatever method you use, even just candlestick pattern analysis. If it's in a lower level timeline, make sure you check the upper level as well to see what's the bigger trend. So are you, say, riding a boat that you're following a small wave, bouncing up a little or tilting up a little, and actually there's that small wave is within a bigger wave that's actually going down. So it's like you're going down slope and then there's a little bulge, you go up a little, but then it's actually continuously going downward. So that's how it's like when we do this in the daily chart. We're looking at the small waves. So pretty long explanation, however, let's do the fun thing. Yes, I know this is Chainlink and what I want is buying climax. So let's put this buying climax over here. It take a little while to refresh. And then there was obviously a second test that doesn't went too high. Let me enlarge it so it's easier for you to see. So, and then, yeah, we know that's an automatic reaction. And here we've got well, there was a sign of weakness on the right hand side of the automatic reaction, but let's skip that not to make the chart too busy. The preliminary support and eventually the selling climax. And we have seen the automatic rally. Let's assume we're in the accumulation phase, right? obviously you can say, well, it looks like an LPSY, but for me, I look at this accumulation over here, and this is probably the right place for another accumulation happening. This is not AR, yeah, automatic rally. AR, you get the point, right? So distribution is automatic reaction. Accumulation cycle, automatic rally. So here, a very deep second test. So are we seeing a sign of strength now? So last time here, it bounced to that point. So I can drag these tags over here so we can compare. So this was, okay, selling climax, automatic rally, and there was a second test coming down. And if, let's say, this is the last point of support or backup or LPS, then we have this leg up. So if we're getting into that stage, that's why I'm saying like there were two options, right, for this particular triangle here. If it does break out, if this is really an accumulation for storing energy for the price to break out, then we'll see very soon there may be a little rise in price. However, it doesn't mean it's going to be very high. I mentioned, right? There are two resistance lines over here. Both are lower than this climax here. So be careful, even if it goes up. It may not be, there's a chance that it may not be as high as what we have seen in mid-May. And then over here we see, like, from these daily Wyckoff tags. I'll keep these here because it's always fun to research and discuss, explore with you guys whether this works. Because somebody left a comment, so, well, he actually asked for even lower, an intraday timeline, but that's going to be very noisy and it doesn't work as well. Probably we couldn't even draw a lot of Wyckoff patterns within, like, say, a 3 hours chart or 1 hour chart. So that's why I start with a daily, and let's see what you think, right? So that's where we are. Remember the two possibilities, and let's see whether this new Wyckoff analysis works in terms of daily. So thanks for joining me. I'll move on to the next video.